Hey guys, welcome to Creative Arena. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a beautiful Parallax website like what we have here without the use of any code or additional plugin in Elementor. So at the end of this tutorial, we're going to have something that looks like this. And when you scroll down, you can see. Now, when we scroll down, you can see that all the elements are moving in different directions. That is what a parallax effect is. So without further delay, let's dive in and get started. So in our Elementor editing screen, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a container here, and then we're just going to give the container content width to set it to full width and leave it at 100%. And then for the minimal height, we're going to give it a minimal height of pH 100. Okay. All right. So the next we're going to do, we'll come over to the advanced settings, and then we're just going to unlink this here. All right. So now we're going to click on this icon here, and then we're going to drag image to it. Okay, so we're going to duplicate this image 8 times. Seven and then 8. Okay, so now for the first image here, we're going to come over here. I'm going to add an image. I've already uploaded all the images we'll be using. So this is our first image. I'm just going to come here. Then I'll rename it first here. Okay, and then for the second image, I'm going to head over here. And also, I'm just going to add this image here and rename it second here. And then for the third, I'm going to come over and do the same. This is our third image. Call it the third here. And then for the fourth, this is our fourth image. And then I'm going to call it the fourth here, and then for the fifth, I'm gonna come here and add this, and then I'm gonna call it fifth here. So the reason I'm renaming all these images is so that when we start working with them, we'll know exactly which image we're working on. It's really important you do something like that. Okay. And this is this image here. I'm just going to call this image leaf. And then for this one here, I'm going to add this image. And then I'm going to call this image our tree image. And for the last image, we're going to add this image. And then I'm going to call this image ground. Okay. All right. So now head back to the first image. Now for this first image, we're going to do some styling here. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to set the resolution to full. And then we're going to come over here. And then for the width, we're going to give it a VW, that's viewport width of 100. And then for the height, we're going to set it to viewport height of 100 as well. And we're going to leave the object fit to default. Okay, so now we're going to come over to the advanced settings. Now for the advanced settings, we're going to go down to the position and we're going to give it a position of absolute. Now, we're not going to set anything for the offset, both horizontal and vertical. We're going to leave it the way it is. I will now give it a z-index of 1. Okay, so now that we've done all this, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to apply this styling we've done to this hue 1 to all the 7 remaining images. So right here on our navigator, we're just going to click on here and we're going to copy. And then for the next image, we're going to paste style. And then for the third image, we're going to do the same. We're going to paste style. For the fourth image, we're going to paste the style as well. For the fifth, we'll do the same. We'll paste the style. For the leaf, we're going to paste the style as well. And then for the tree, we're going to paste the style. And for the ground, we're going to paste the style. So finally, we now have something that looks like this. Our design is coming into form. Okay. So now that we've done this and everything looks fine, the next thing we're going to do here is we're just going to come over here. And then we're going to drag a container. I'm going to place it right above here. This is the container we've dragged. Okay, so we're just going to drag this container to the top here. Okay, and then we're going to rename the container. We're going to call it header. I'm going to call it header. And then let's rename this container here. Let's call it parent. All right. Okay, so now for the header, we're going to come over and then we're going to give it a row direction this way, horizontal, like so. Okay, and then we're going to click on this plus icon here. before we do that, as you can see, when we click on this plus icon, we can't access the header. So we're going to give the header as the index that is higher than the images we already have here. So we'll just go to the advanced settings, and then we'll come down here to the z index. I'm going to give it a z index of, let's say, 5. Okay, so now this is clickable. All right, so we're now going to drag and drop a container to it, and then we're going to duplicate this container. Before we do so, let's set it to full width, and then let's duplicate it. Okay, now for the first container here, we're going to set it to a width of 20%. Let's give it 20% width. Okay, and then we're going to click on this plus icon here, and then let's add a heading text to it. And before we do so, let's go back to the container and let's set it to justify content center. Okay, now for this text we've added here, let's come over here and let's title it our logo. Okay, now we're going to come over to the style options for the logo, and then we're going to set the color. We're going to set the color to, okay, and then we're going to go to the typography. We're going to give it a font size of 40 pixel. And then for the weight, we're going to set the weight to 800. So we'll have something that looks like that. All right. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're just going to, let's see what we've done. Okay. It's good. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a menu here. Okay. So we're just going to click on this, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to search for menu. And we're going to make use of the WordPress menu. So just drag it and drop it here. Okay. All right. So now for the menu, we're going to change the menu to Parallax menu, which I've already created. Okay, and then for the pointer, we're going to set the pointer to background. And we're just going to come here for the full width. We're going to toggle this. Yep. So now let's go to the styling and let's tweak it a bit. So for the color, we're going to come over here and give it a color of 209. Okay. And then let's go over to the typography. Let's give it a font size of 20 pixel, and then let's come over to the weight and let's give it a weight of 600 and see if it looks well. Okay, 600 looks fine to me. All right, so now that we've done that, let's come over to the hover. For the hover, the pointer background, let's give the pointer background the color of 003329. Okay, so we now have something like this. Okay, for the active, we're going to set it the same as that of the hover. Okay, now that we've done that, for the space between, we're going to give it a space between 10 pixel, and then for the radius, we're just going to come over and give it a radius of, let's say, 30 pixel, and let's see what we'll have. All right, this looks wonderful. Okay, so now that we've done all this, the next thing we're going to do, we just come over here to the header container, and then we're going to unlink this. We're going to give it a padding of 20 pixel to the top. Okay, so we now have something that looks like so. Yeah, everything is now coming into form. We can also make our logo clickable. We can make our logo. When you're doing this, if you have a logo, you can just upload the logo here. This is just a placeholder. So remember to make the logo clickable. Come into the content, and then here we're just gonna give it this. So our logo is now clickable. Our logo is now clickable. All right. So the next thing we're gonna do now is we're just going to come over here. Let's toggle this. Now let's go to the widget menu. And then let's drag and drop our heading. Let's drop it here. Okay, so this is our heading here. So we're just going to drag the heading to right above the first hill. Okay, all right. So for the heading, we're going to come over here to, and then let's type something for our heading. Let's give it the text. Let's call it Parallax website. All right. Okay. So now let's go to the styling, and then let's give our heading an alignment to the center, and then let's come here. Let's give it a color of white. Not to worry, you're not see it now, but we're going to see it when we're done with the adjustment. Now for the size, we're going to give it a font size of, set the unit to EM and give it a font size of 4 EM. Okay. And then we're going to come down here, and then for the text shadow, let's just come here, give it a text shadow, and reduce the blur to, let's say 6. Okay, this looks fine. And then let's go over to the advanced settings. Now for the margin, we're going to give it a margin. First of all, we're going to change the unit to %, and then we're going to unlink this. And to the top, we're going to give it a margin of 25%. 25%. And then we're going to come down here, and then we're going to align self to the center. Okay. We're going to come down and give it a Z index of, let's see, 3. Let's see. All right, 3 is okay. Okay. So now that we've done this and everything is looking fine, I think we should increase the font weight of our text. So let's go over to the style option, and then let's come over to the typography. Now for the font weight, I'm going to give it a weight of bold 700. So this is what we get. Okay. This looks okay. This looks okay to me. All right. Okay. Now that we've done all these and everything is coming into form just as we wanted, the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to scroll down here, and then we're going to add another container. And for this container, we're just going to come over to the background type, and then we're going to give it the background color of 003329. And then we're going to go to the advanced settings, and let's give it a padding of 100 all around, and let's unlink this and set it to 20 pixels to the left and 20 pixels to the right. So now let's click on this plus icon and drag our heading to it. Okay, for our heading, we're just going to title our heading Elementor Parallax Scrolling. Okay, now let's go to the style option and let's tweak it a bit. So for the color, we're going to set the color to white. And then for the typography, the font size, we're going to change the unit to EM, and then we're going to give it a font size of 3 EM. So we'll have something like this. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, come over here, and then we're going to drag a text editor to it. Okay, now for our text content, we're going to generate a demo content. So we just head on to the Laura Epson demo content generator. So we're just going to generate 5 paragraph text. So we just click on generate, and our text is generated. So we just copy it and we head back, and here we're just going to, and I'll paste it here. So we'll go to the style option, and we're going to change the background color to the text color, to white. And then we're going to go to the typography. For the size, we're going to set it to 1 EM. Okay, so finally, this is what we get. Okay, so our website is finally coming into form. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is we're just going to come over and then let's add our parallax effect. For us to add the parallax effect on our website, we're just going to come over here, and then we're going to start with the heading text here. Okay, so we'll go to the advanced settings, and then we'll come down here to the motion effect. For the scrolling, we're going to add the scrolling effect. Now for the scrolling effect, we're going to set the vertical scroll. We're going to set the direction to down, and then for the speed, we're going to set this, increase the speed to 6. Okay, for the viewport, we're going to leave it the way it is. So we're going to come down to scale, and then for the scale, we're going to set our scale direction to down, scale down, and then for the speed, we're going to increase the speed to 7. And then for the viewport, we're going to set the viewport to default viewport. That is 0% bottom and then 100% top. So we're going to have something that looks like so. Okay. All right. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're just going to come over here. Let's go to the leaf. Now for the leaf, we're going to go to the advanced settings. Now we're going to scroll down here and give it a Z index of 3. So we can see that we'll have something now like this, that the leaf is now above our text, which gives it that nice effect. Okay, so before we proceed, let's head over to our parent container. Now for our parent container here, let's go to the additional option and let's set the overflow to hidden, because what we're going to do now might affect the overflow. It will definitely give us an overflow on our website, and we do not want it to show. So we're just going to set this to hidden. Okay, while we are on the leaf, let's just set the motion effect for the leaf. So let's come here, toggle this on, and then we're going to set for the scrolling effect, we're going to select horizontal scroll. And for the horizontal scroll, we're going to set it to the right, our direction to the right. And then for the speed, we're going to set the speed to the highest, which is 10. Okay, for the viewport, we're going to leave the viewport the way it is. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to head over to the second here. Now for the second here, we'll go to the advanced settings just like we've been doing. Go to the motion effect, and then we're going to add a scrolling effect. Now we're going to set a vertical scroll. Now for the vertical scroll, we're going to set our speed to 2. We're going to reduce our speed to 2. And then the direction, we're going to leave the direction. Let's see. For the direction, we won't leave it at up. Let's see what we're doing. Okay, we're gonna set the direction to downwards. Yep, downwards. Okay, so we're going to have something that looks like this. Let's increase the speed. Let's increase the speed. Let's set it to default speed, which is 4. And okay, all right. So now let's go over to the scale option. Now for the scale option, we're going to come down here and we're going to scale it up. That is, the direction should be scaled up, and then for the speed, we're going to set the speed to 6. And then for the viewport, we're going to set the viewport to 0 bottom, and then to the top, we're going to give it 100% to the top. So we now have something like this. You can see it here. Okay, all right. So now that we've done that, next one we're going to work with is the third here. Now for the third here, we're just going to come down here to the motion effects. Now for the motion effects, we're going to come to the scrolling effect just like we've been doing, and we're going to give it a scale up. Scale. We're going to scale it up and then increase the speed to 6. Okay, after the viewport, we're going to set the viewport to 0 to the bottom and then 100 to the top. Okay, now we've done that, we're going to head to the fourth here. For the fourth here, we'll go to the advanced settings and we'll come down to the motion effect, and we're going to add a scrolling effect just like we've been doing. Okay, so now we're going to give it a horizontal scroll. So our horizontal scroll, we're going to set the direction to the left, leave it at that. That's to the left. And then for the speed, we're going to give it the highest speed, which is 10. Yep. And then for the viewport, we're going to leave it at default. Okay, so after that, we're going to head to the fifth hill. For the fifth hill, which is somewhere here, we're going to go to the advanced settings just like we've been doing. And then we're going to come down to the motion, add the scrolling effect, and then we're going to set a horizontal scroll for this. So our horizontal scroll, we're going to set the direction to the right, and then for the speed, we're going to give it a higher speed of 10 also. Okay, so now that we've done that, the final one we'll be doing, okay, we've already done for the leaf, so we'll now go to the tree. All right, for the tree, we'll go to the advanced settings, and then for the motion, we're going to add a scrolling effect as well, and then we're going to scale the tree up. We're going to scale it up, and then for the speed, we're going to increase the speed to like 5. And for the viewport, we're going to set the viewport to 0 to the bottom and then 100% to the top. Okay, so now we've done that. The next and the final one we're going to do is the ground, this one here. So we'll go to the advanced settings, and then we'll come over to the motion effect, and we're going to add a motion to that. So the first motion we're going to add is the vertical scroll. So we're going to scroll it upwards, and then we're going to increase the speed to 5. And then for the viewport, we're going to leave the viewport the way it is, 0 here and then 100 here. We're going to leave it that way. Okay, and then we're going to come over to the scale. Now for the scale option, we're going to come here, and then we're going to scale it up, leave it at scale up, and then the speed, we're going to increase the speed to 5. Going to increase the speed to 5, and then for the viewport, we're going to take the viewport to 0, and then to the bottom, and then 100 to the top. After doing that, let's come over to the layout. So let's increase the Z index here to 10. Give it a value of 10. So let's take a look at what we have done. Let's see how our scrolling effect looks. Okay, you can see our parallax effect is coming into place. So all right, we have a problem of this space here. So we're going to fix the space by just coming back here, and then we go to the container, this container here. So we're going to edit this container. Now for the under the layout, for the margin, we're going to unlink this, and then we're going to give it a margin to the top of negative 40 pixels to the top. Okay, and then we're going to come down here, and let's give it a Z index higher than that of the ground, because the ground, we give the ground a Z index of 10. So we're going to give the container here a Z index of 15 or 12 as the case may be, but we'll just leave it at 15 to be on the safe side. So all right, so now that we've done that, we're going to come down here, and then let's add a motion, because that did it fix it? Oh yeah, you see, it didn't fix it. So we're going to add a motion to it. Okay, now for the scrolling effect, we're going to add a scale up effect to it. Should we add a scale up effect? Let's see. Okay, let's give it a vertical scroll effect. Okay, and then let's reduce this speed to 2. Okay, now let's go back and let's try it out and see what we have, if it has been fixed. Okay, it has been fixed, and our motion is working perfectly. Everything looks wonderful. You can see. I think there is something we need to do again. There's something this hue here should increase and not decrease. So let's go back and let's locate that hue. I think that should be 4th hue. No, it's not 4th hue. I think it's let's say, I think is it the 2nd hue? Okay, yeah, it's the 2nd hue. Now let's go back to the motion effect, and then for the vertical, let's change the direction to up, and then let's see what we have. Okay, we forgot to add an effect to one of the images, so let's fix that. I think that is the first here. Also, we just go to the advanced settings for the first here. We're going to come down to the motion effect, and we're going to add a scrolling effect for the first here. Now we're going to give it a vertical scroll. We're going to add a vertical scroll, and then direction, we're going to set it down. And for the speed, we're going to increase the speed to, let's say, 6. Okay, and for the viewport, to leave it at bottom 0% and then top 100%. So now let's preview and see what we have. Okay, now you can see that this here also goes down. All right, so now that we've done everything that has to be done with the parallax effect, now let's check our responsiveness of the website. Now let's see how our website looks on all other devices. So let's come over to this responsive mode. Let's click it, and then let's check the mode for the tablet. Now for the tablet, we can see that our logo and menu are not well placed, so we're going to fix that. So to do so, we just come over to this header container here, and then we can see also that the logo and the menu are not clickable. Let's check that. You can see they are not clickable. All right, so to fix, so for this main header here, this header container, we're just going to scroll down, and we're going to increase the index to the highest on our website, which is 20. So it's above every other thing. Though you can remember that it has a transparent background, so it's not going to cover anything. So you can see now it's clickable. All right, so we're just going to toggle this, and then for the first container here, we're going to come over to the advanced settings, and then we're going to unlink the padding, and we're going to give it a padding to the left. Let's give it a padding to the left of 30 pixel. Okay, now this looks okay. All right, so we're going to come over here down to the second container. For the second container, we're going to toggle it down, and then for the menu, we before we touch the menu, we're going to come over here and try to move this icon here a little bit this way. So to do so, under the container house in the menu, we're going to go to the advanced settings, and we're going to unlink this, and then for the padding, we're going to give it a padding to the right of 100 pixel. Okay, so now we have something that looks like this. All right, so next thing we're going to do is we're just going to come over here, and we're going to tweak the menu widget. So for the menu widget, we're just going to toggle this down. We're going to come to the drop down. For the drop down, we're going to come over to the background color. Now for this background color, we're going to give it a transparent color. Okay, so this is what we're going to have. You can see. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is for the typography, we're going to come over to the typography, and we're going to give it a font size of let's say I don't know, let's try 18 pixel. Okay, this looks great. All right, so now that we've done that, we're going to go over to the hover. Now for the hover, the text color, we're going to set it to white, and then the background color, we're going to set it to 003329. Okay, so this is what we get. All right, so now for the active, there won't be need for that, so we'll just leave it the way it is. So we're going to come down here, and then for the horizontal padding, we're going to give it a padding of 30 pixel, just like that of the logo, so that they align together. You can see I have something that looks way better now. So this is what we have here, and then we can just close this, and everything now looks fine. All right, so now that we've done that, we're going to come over to the heading. Now we're just going to toggle this out, then we're going to come over to the heading. Now for the heading, we're just going to go to the style option. For the typography, we're going to reduce the font size to 3 EM. Okay, so we now have something that looks like this, as you can see. All right, so now that we've done that, then we're going to come over. As you can see, there's something wrong here. You can see, notice that there's a white screen here that just pops up. So to fix it, we just fix that. We're just going to come over here to the last container, this container here, and then we'll go to the advanced settings for this container, and then the margin, we're going to unlink this, and then we're going to give it a margin to the top of negative 80 pixel to the top, and then now let's check it out and see. Now everything now looks fine. Okay, let's come over to this heading here and let's reduce the font size. Let's go to the size and let's reduce the font size to 2 EM. Okay, now this looks perfect. Okay, now that we're done with the tablet mode, let's go to the mobile mode. Okay, this doesn't look nice on the mobile, so we're gonna fix it. All right, to do so, we're just gonna come over to the parent container, and then for the header, first we're gonna do is we just come to the first header container here, and then for the first container, we'll go to the layout, and we're going to change the unit to percentage, and we're gonna give it a width of, let's say, 40%. Okay, then we'll come down to the second container, and for the second container, we'll go to the layout, and then we're gonna change the unit to percent, and then we're gonna give it a value of 54%. So it's well placed right above, and then you can see this is what we get. Everything now looks just fine. Okay, so now that we've done that, the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to come over to the heading. For the heading widget, first thing we're going to do is we just come over here and give it a custom width of, let's change it to percent, and then let's give it a custom width of 70%. Okay, so I think that's pretty much about it. So let's come over here and let's see. All right, okay, we can still see that we have a problem of this space here where we scroll down. So to fix the space, we're going to come back here, and then we're going to go back to this last container here, and then we're going to come over and then unlink this. And this time around, we're going to increase it and give it a negative margin of 100 pixel. So now let's check it out and see what we have. All right, everything now looks fine. Everything just looks wonderful. So that is pretty much it. Now our website is now successfully responsive on all devices, be it mobile and tablet and then desktop. So we're just gonna publish this, gonna update this. Okay, and then we're just gonna take this out. So now let's hover here and see if this our menu are working well. As you can see, while we hover, nothing is happening. So our menu here is not working well. All right, so now to fix that, we're just gonna go back here to the header here. For this header option, we're gonna go to the advanced settings, and we'll come down and make sure we increase the Z index to the highest on the website, which is 20. So this is 20 is the highest Z index on our website. So it's going to be on top of everything, and down everything is now working just fine. So we're just going to click on update, and we can preview everything and see how our website looks great. So we've come to the end of this tutorial. Thank you for watching till the end. If you're new to our channel, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get notified first when I drop a new video. And if you like this video, you learned something new from it, please remember to give it a thumbs up, drop your comment wherever you're confused, and I will do well to attend to all comments. But until then, see you next time. Bye bye.